Hello, friends. Welcome to AFTA Talks, episode 3.
To go. Oh no, you made a choice. Now it's up to
Episode 3 is the second sequel of AFTA's Servant Leaders in episode 1. Today, we will be graced by four strong willed women of AFTA: Ms. Dara Valconcha, Ms. Ivy Sakai, Ms. Helen Howard, and Ms. Doreen Cabillan. After Talks is where our hearts and minds meet. So let's get the ball rolling. Hello, Dara. I know you were a professor of Mindanao State University before coming over to the Big Apple. So the first question goes to you. How do you describe your transition to the New York City public school system?
My first 3 years were quite difficult, adjusting to a new environment. It was like eating something you do not like, but you have to in order to survive. But God is so good. I am now in a better position to serve and teach mathematics with love and passion to my English language students coming from all over the world. Both are challenging. When I was at MSU, that's Mindanao State University, I had to be ahead academically because my students were students in science high school. Here, it's challenging in a different way because I have to deal with the social emotional issues of my students. My relationship with my students here is more genuine. Back home, I don't need to establish a relationship with my students. And my success here is measured more on engagement among students, while it's more of their academic performance in the Philippines.
I totally feel you, Dara. I thought our experiences are pretty similar in many ways. And I strongly agree with you also on the academic performance in the Philippines versus the student engagement here in the US. So you're not alone. Okay, Miss Ivy, I have learned that it was a challenge for you landing a job as a special education teacher here in the Big Apple. So my question is, what have you learned from that experience?
Personally, I've learned how to be tough, knowing that my family was not here to help me figure out how to resolve the crisis I went through. With that kind of attitude, I learned not to let my emotions overwhelm me. Instead, with a clear mind and conviction, I was able to focus on the things I needed to do to overcome the obstacles. And that difficult experience helped me broaden my perspective in life. Because of the outpouring of blessings, natuto akong mag-appreciate sa mga maliliit na bagay. Sa mga blessings na natatanggap ko, I was able to discern the meaning of my existence in life. I know fully well that teaching special needs students is doing service. However, real service is helping others by not expecting in return. And that made me think of joining orgs that will allow me to use my talents and skills in helping others, particularly my kababayan.
I like that line, Miss Ivy, not to let your emotion overwhelm you. It's pretty cool. So now let's shift gear. Let's talk about your experiences with AFTA. So, Miss Helen, what made you decide to serve AFTA and its advocacies?
Service is a way of giving back. I always believe in the notion of paying it forward. I also feel that it's my social responsibility. I want to make an impact not just locally but also globally. My deciding factors were based on the mission, vision, and advocacies of AFTA, which are parallel to my beliefs, ministration, and goals. It's important to choose an organization that matches one's standpoints, an organization with committed educators, which one can make us partners for good causes and for life. It is also important to me that the causes where I give my time as an advocate are closely aligned to the values, passion, and intentions of the people behind the organization. I fully believe that AFTA has that sense of commission. It is an organization committed to advocate for educators, students, and communities, both here in the States and in our home country, as a matter of fact, in other parts of the world. One of the projects that I like supporting is the scholarship program meant to assist young students in the pursuit of their education. I believe in education as a major cornerstone to success. It's a blessing and a privilege to be able to help students reach their dreams and aspirations in life. A humble way to give back.
Oh, wow. Service is a social responsibility. That's quite strong, Miss Helen. Thank you so much for that. So now let's keep on moving. Miss Doreen, which project of AFTA conquered your heart? Take note of the word conquer. Okay? And if you can also share your experiences with this project, we would really appreciate it.
AFTA has a lot of projects, and one of my favorites is Paaralan sa Konsulado. This project conquered my heart because it focuses on teaching Filipino-American values, language, heritage, art, songs, dances, games, and traditions. I have been volunteering in teaching for 2 years every summer for 5 consecutive Saturdays because I love teaching and I find it interesting and rewarding. Based in my 2-year experience in teaching PSK, I can say that it's a great challenge because the children have little to no background about the topics because they were born or raised here in the US. However, I observed that the children were eager to learn new things and they engaged the entire classes. They participated very well when we were singing Filipino folk songs such as Bahay Kubo, Ang Pipit, and many more. They were very creative with their work when we made crafts using Filipino-made materials. They tried their best to speak and learn Filipino words, phrases, and sentences. They learned very fast and their parents were very supportive. It's very rewarding when you see that the goals were achieved at the end of the day.
Same here, Miss Doreen. Second to Baliktarot, Paaralan sa Konsulado is very close to my heart. Now back to you, Miss Ivy. Can you tell us your story of how you became board member of AFTA?
Becoming a member of AFTA was intentional, but to be a board member was a coincidence. It happened in November 2018 when a friend invited me to join an AFTA PD. Ang dahilan, sinabi niya sa akin na kapag member ka ng AFTA and when you plan to go back to the Philippines, posibleng makakatanggap ka ng tax deduction from your airfare by joining one of the AFTA projects called Balik Turo. That was a big catch, why I joined the PD, without knowing that election of the new set of officers took place right after that. During the election process, I was nominated 3 times before finally being elected as one of the PROs. Kasi naman, walang nakakilala sa akin except one board member na hindi rin ako kilala personally. Siguro nagsawa na sila why my name kept popping as a nominee kaya finally naging officer din. But seriously, deep in me, I already had this thought of doing service for others, especially for our kababayans. Because of the struggles that I had to overcome, I realized that there was a greater sense of purpose for me through their projects that benefited and will benefit the Filipinos. That's a reason why I ended up joining the organization.
There's always a catch, Miss Ivy, right? Okay, so Miss Helen, does your position as the president of the MSUE Village, a non-profit Filipino organization among friends and alumni of Mindanao State University, runs counter with your active involvement in AFTA?
My position as a president of MSUE Village, which is also a non-profit Filipino-American organization, entails a lot of responsibilities and accountabilities. But I genuinely think that my being president doesn't run counter to my active participation and involvement with AFTA, and vice versa. Instead, being president of MIBI complements my designation as officer of AFTA, bringing best practices of both organizations to light. The best thing about AFTA and MIBI is the fact that we have managed to create a good partnership which is very crucial to the growth and continuity of our organizations. We've created a community, and realistically, it's something extremely necessary to ensure sustainability. We believe in camaraderie, friendship, and unity. We are purpose-driven, and we share the same ideals. It is always good to cultivate connections. It is my belief as a leader that to be able to achieve organizational goals and objectives, we should work hand in hand with other groups and associations. I consider AFTA as our associate and collaborator. My involvement with AFTA has intrinsic value. AFTA has shared a lot of knowledge to many, including myself. I am actually delighted with the reality that we are working toward the same mission. When AFTA and MSUE Village incorporate our programs and projects together, we can count on a stronger workforce. Our joint efforts usually are productive. This quote sums everything up. Collaboration divides the task and multiplies the success. I thank both AFTA and MSUE Village for the opportunity to serve.
Thank you, Miss Helen. It sounds like you have a great grasp of time management serving both organizations. Now, Doreen, living in a foreign land for a longer time, it must have given you ample time to reflect on your inner self. What do you consider as your greatest strengths and weaknesses?
I'm extremely passionate about what I do, and that shows in my work as a teacher and in the organizations such as Association of Phil-Am Teachers of America, which is AFTA, and the Nawanuans in America and Canada that I am affiliated with. I use my dedication, willingness to learn new things, and eagerness to accomplish goals efficiently and effectively. My weaknesses became my strength. I've never given up, even on my personal life. I had encountered a lot of challenges and obstacles in life, but I overcame it with a lot of struggles, patience, faith in God, and perseverance to achieve my goal. I believe in the saying that while there's life, there's hope. God will make a way when there's no way. There's no impossible thing in this world if you aim for it.
I so love that line, Miss Doreen. Your weaknesses are your strengths. Thank you so much for that. So finally, the last question goes to Miss Dara. Do you identify more of yourself as a Filipino now that you're in New York, or is it just the same as when you were in the Philippines?
In the Philippines, I never had a lot of opportunities to engage in activities that will enhance my being Filipino. Here, I am more of a Filipino. I have always dressed in Filipiniana on formal occasions, which I never did back home. I instill Filipino values to my students, like being always grateful, respectfully greeting their teachers, and loving their family. It's ironic, but we become more Filipino when we are away from home.
There you have it, friends. Another episode of AFTA Talks. And I hope you learn more about our servant leaders, Dara, Doreen, Ivy, and Helen. We hope to see you in the next episode of AFTA Talks, where our hearts and minds meet. Bye for now.